Welcome to the Wellspring Digital Chats. My name is John Michael Bailey. This is where we bring the brains of some of the best marketing experts around directly to you so you can learn more and I can learn a little more too. So today we are very, very lucky to have a good friend of Wellspring Digital as well as a foremost expert on Google My Business and local SEO. Tim, if you would, take a moment and introduce yourself to these good folks.
Hi everyone, I'm Tim. I'm based in the UK, judging by the dodgy twang. I'm originally from South Africa, but don't hold that against me. I own and operate online ownership in the UK, and I'm currently the only Google My Business product expert running out of the UK. You do have a fair few in the US, and there's a couple more dotted around the world, but I'm sort of managed the UK.
I think it's safe to say that you're the only South African living in the UK who's also an expert in Google My Business. So
yeah, I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
I think that's what you should put outside your door. Welcome to the office. All right, so I'm really excited about this one. Picking your brain is going to be a treat for me and for these folks, as I mentioned. Our fearless leader, Karl Hindle, told me to focus on Google My Business with you. And that is my plan for the most part. So let's jump right in. All right. So it seems that quite often when I mention Google My Business to clients or to business owners, they look at me a little sideways. Can you explain what Google My Business or GMB is to these people that may not know?
Yeah, I think the big problem Google had with that is they changed the name. They've rebranded that product so many times over the years. And I suppose the quickest way for someone to kind of get the idea is if they search for their brand name or their business name, if they get what we call a knowledge panel appearing. And 9 times out of 10, that is actually extracted from now what is called Google My Business. You may have a lot of people, it's generated via maps. Mm-hmm. And initially when Google Maps launched back in 2005, they needed to populate the maps. So they essentially scraped everything. And people kind of assumed that this was some kind of Google thing. They never realized that they could actually manage it, own it, brand it. And also people don't realize that it's actually benefiting their business, because when they look in their analytics, they can see stuff coming from Facebook, or they can see stuff coming from, Twitter or other marketing channels. But because if you've never used a UTM tracking code, it's just lumped in as organic. And what they think, so that people just think it's some disjointed thing, which just Google provided. Right. So I think that's the biggest misconception. And then when you tell them, well, actually you can own it and brand that, they're like, really?
So it is important, obviously, to businesses to have and claim that Google My Business. What are some things that maybe people miss about maybe they've claimed it, maybe they have it, and maybe they're missing some opportunity there? What are some common things that people seem to miss in the Google My Business?
So the platform, Google My Business made some big changes last year. So if you haven't sort of logged in a while, you can actually add a business description now. You can add a business description. They enabled Google Posts. You can use Google Posts, which show up in search results instantly in your knowledge panel for what's going on. You can they last for 7 days. You can actually add, now it's not quite applicable to all sort of category type businesses, but you can add products, you can add price. Those don't appear. And even if you start using the product section, it will actually display your products direct in for your business name, or for your
In the knowledge panel.
in the knowledge panel.
Okay.
Which are direct, people can click direct through from that into that product. And of course, you can interlink it then again into that product page itself. You can list events. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening that people can actually use and optimize for a better looking knowledge panel.
Sure.
The thing is, what people need to realize, what Google's trying to do is they're trying to be the window to that business and to keep within their product. Now, if you're not taking ownership of that, and you should take ownership of any brand or anywhere that your brand is on whatever platform, you're just missing out. And if somebody's doing some form of comparison search in the sense of, I'm looking for a window cleaner, if yours is unloved, it just has some really dodgy images, because of course users can upload images also onto it, which is another thing you need to manage. And if you've never looked at reviews or anything like this, people are going to look instantly when they're just comparing, apples and when they're just comparing, you literally are going to be losing out on that additional click based upon what they're searching for.
Sure. And it's funny because you have that picture behind you of the storefront kind of Google My Business image there. And that's really what it is. It's your digital storefront. And if it's not, if you got bags of trash sitting outside and bums hanging, not a good look for you. So.
Yeah. And I mean, that talk about bags of trash. There's so many times when people don't take the time to even just drop their pin marker sort of, near the front. They will just randomly drop it in, they've never zoomed in or used the satellite view or street view to actually put it at their front door. And, when you get the street view, which is merged into the product, you might have a back alley displaying next to your business name. And it's like, just take a little bit of time. And this is how customers see you and your business. It's the window to it. Your search results is literally a title. And of course, if it's for the brand name, you'll have a title. You might have a couple of extra snippets. Mm-hmm. Right there, slap bang, you've got this visually impressive knowledge panel. You have to look after it.
Yeah. So, we're in this pandemic here, and we're seeing dramatic shifts in how businesses are marketing themselves. And you have a post from June about COVID-19 survival, and it lays out in very stark terms how hard it's been for businesses dealing with all the changes in local SEO. What do businesses need to be doing to stay creative and on top of the new realities coming at us almost daily when it comes to local SEO?
Yeah, that is tough, and I think every kind of sort of type of business is going to have to just really see what their customers are looking for and trying to understand what they are looking for and what their specific thing is. In terms of GMB and a really niche local business is actually, are you open? It's the basic thing, and if you haven't managed your GMB, that's quite a tough thing. The second thing is what control measures do you have in place?
Right.
Am I going to wait outside? If it's raining, do I need a brolly? Is there an awning? What's the queues like? What's the one-way system? Have you got a time limit, like a time estimate? If I'm a sort of a local store, which I've got 6 aisles in, it may take you 15 minutes. People are conscious about how long they are indoors.
Good point.
And it's search queries. So if you're not providing this to the user, whether it be on your website, GMB has actually got a little COVID post that lasts for 30 days, which will actually display above any other posts about the measures you're taking. Are there actually attributes being rolled out all the time in GMB? Whether you are, providing different hand wash, sanitary gel, hand gels, sanitizers, things like this. So there are a lot of attributes you can apply to that. If it's restaurants, are you just offering takeaway, or you can select that you're doing that. You're not dine in for the minute, but we do offer takeaway and we do offer curbside delivery. But so those are the attributes in that. But if you're not putting that on your site and trying to understand, people are completely looking at search queries in different ways. And of course, unfortunately, a lot of all the keyword suggestion tools that we typically use in SEO, these aren't surfacing yet. So you are actually going to need to speak to your customers, and just a 5 minute, they may not want to be in store, but if you reach out to them and put together a little survey in a Google Doc and ask them if they've got 5 minutes, so you can understand how to serve them better, and then start providing answers to those queries, whether it be on your site or individual products, product pages on your site, or whatever the case may be. But people are scared, and they're looking at different things.
That's a perfect segue to my next question. So I appreciate that. So I was talking with another marketer, Jay Bear, a couple weeks ago, and he was saying he has this whole theory about how basically you have BC and before COVID and after COVID, and he was talking about how businesses are basically having to completely reset. And specifically, he mentioned that pre-COVID reviews on your Google reviews are kind of losing their meaning because we're being forced to reintroduce ourselves to the marketplace. So first of all, do you agree with that? And second of all, do you have any recommendations for people managing their Google reviews in this new reality, in this new pandemic reality?
I certainly see some reviews are going to be redundant. And of course, in GMB, you get typically three featured reviews, snippets that'll show up. And depending on what those specifically were, and if you were sort of, let's say, mining reviews, they could look a little bit redundant. The way you can sort of prompt users is when you're sending out, if you've collected obviously their email, or they've become a customer, they've signed up to your newsletter, or whatever the case may be. When you send these out and you ask them to for a review, or if it was a customer that came in that day and you send it out later in the afternoon, whether they may have had a haircut or something, you can prompt them. And you could prompt them in saying things like, how did you find the service today with our new implementation? You've prompted them to, and they should in some way, shape or form actually mention how helpful it was, or how well managed it was, etc. And that will start filtering it into the actual review. So you're just making that little prompt or suggestion based upon what they actually did. And if it was, a service that you had gone to their, whatever the case would be, you could, same again, prompt them you're just prompting them. It doesn't always work.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Yeah. So just prompting in that, hi, thank you for coming in today. Pleasure to serve you. I wonder if you could, and you just prompt them slightly into that kind of direction you want to lead them in.
That's interesting. So it's going to definitely be interesting to see the long-term effects of this. And I, for one, feel that now is the time where businesses can really step up and show that they're willing to go the extra mile, and to be flexible, and to work with their customers, with their clients,
Definitely.
So yeah, I obviously now I think that Google My Business and local SEO plays a huge role in that. That's interesting.
Yeah, if you depend on a particular region, specifically for whether it be walk-in customers, you should really take ownership of GMB, tie it into your site, make sure you know that Google understands the signals between your site, where you are, your business, etc., and it machine learns from your site. Although they are slightly two separate algos. GMB and that, you definitely need to get a grip on it and manage it. If you provide a service, you want to aim to be in the local pack for a service query.
Okay.
If you a brand with a couple of locations, you want to aim, by structuring it correctly, to aim for a proper brand pack. So when your name is searched, you just don't have an organic, and then Google doesn't just pick one random knowledge panel. It actually displays a brand pack, so three recent ones, or three of the nearest ones to that customer. So, definitely, integrating and structuring it, the site together with your listings, definitely important.
Is that the 3-pack that Karl is always talking about?
Yeah. So if you just go and, plumbers, plumber in town, or just, obviously Google knows where you are, or at least tries to interpret where you are,
Sure,
based on IP or your mobile phone. But you will get a 3-pack. So you've got a little snippet of, 3 businesses appearing on a map, and then it'll give you details of 3 relevant, or what they feel are closer or the most relevant ones to you.
Okay.
And it applies to all kind of lawyers, dentists,
Sure.
Doctor, pet store, pretty much any type of business with a location.
I'm definitely seeing the severe, massive importance of Google My Business now. Google has a tendency to wait till everyone gets used to how things work and then completely change everything. So I wanted to see if you could be a bit of a soothsayer here and ask you, do you see Google moving Google My Business into a paid model? Or what changes do you see? What other changes do you see coming for GMB and local SEO?
Yeah, so Google My Business, they already, for 2 years now, they've already been running an offshoot to this called local service ads. So if you search, there's not all categories, and it's not in all states, but if you searched locksmith San Diego, for example, you now get right at the top of organic, you'll get a list of businesses with a green little Google guaranteed tick next to them. Then you will have your sort of 2 regular ads. Then you will have local service ad, local
right.
pack, and then organic after that. Way
right.
below the fold. So yeah, they've already moved into that. And in fact, this week, Friday night, last gone, they launched local service ad sign up for the UK and a couple of European countries now. So they are going full tilt. They're going full tilt into the local service ads with a Google guarantee. And in fact, last 2 weeks ago, they actually announced that you don't even now have to go through local service ads to get the Google guarantee. You can actually apply for $50 a month just on your regular GMB listing with a Google guaranteed badge. Yes, there are a few hoops you have to jump through. They will check out the business. The business is vetted. The owners are the owners are checked, as well as staff. So there are a few hoops you have to jump through. But if you're going to start having local service ads, then you've got a 3-pack, and you are in there, and two of them have the Google guarantee tick next to it, and yours doesn't.
Yeah.
Even if you work hard to get into the 3-pack, you're just not even going to be there. Now, so this is all going to be, so, they've literally split it out two ways now. Local service ads, you have to, obviously those are applicable to service area businesses only as such.
Right.
Have expanded to a few in the States, like lawyers, where it's actually in an office. But primarily it started out as service area businesses. Now you've got them in the States 2 weeks ago launching this. If you're applicable, you can, apply for it. And that will be just literally local businesses. It all depends on the category. They're not going to guarantee a pint of milk.
Right.
It will guarantee a particular service to a monetary value. And I think in the States, it's up to $2,000.
Wow.
So, look, this
never a dull moment.
yeah, totally. Now, there's another sort of flip shoot and that they've been testing on and off for a couple of years, which I keep catching. And they're becoming tested more and more frequently, which is a bit worrying. When you have your knowledge panel, you'll have your knowledge panel, so it'll be your image in the above, name, address. Before your products, your Google posts or products or reviews, there's a nice little bit of space there that they open up, and they're actually displaying ads from Gumtree or different other offer sites, things like this. So if they're already displaying or testing these ads, which is a pain in the ass, because if you don't know you're displaying it, and then they're testing this, and you're running a 20% discount over on Gumtree or whatever other platform, and they're actually expanding out these different offer platforms. If you are then offering that, thinking, well, it's 20%, and there's, I might get a bit of traction there, but all of a sudden they're displaying this right slap bang in your knowledge panel, becomes a problem, because then every single customer is going to naturally move away from you, go direct there to book the 20% discount to come back to you, and you could lose exponential amounts. I mean, the reason we first caught it was a pizza restaurant I think they were in New York, and they came onto the forum and they were like, what the hell's going on? We took one order direct the entire weekend, and of course, margins are tight with restaurants.
Yeah.
But when I was like, well, what's the restaurant name? We started doing a bit of digging. Luckily, the ad was still showing for a third-party menu site, which they had run a deal on. So all of a sudden, instead of direct orders, so the worst one, third-party menu sites can charge anywhere up to 10 to 15% of the actual order total. So over an entire weekend, this pizza joint in New York literally never made any profit, and they were freaking out because of this ad. Now, I'm not saying Google will, but at some point, I think these ads will run out more and more and more. At the minute, they are your own branded ads if you're actually advertising on a different platform. So it is coming to you. But at some point, could you essentially target a business type category and have your business appear in someone else's knowledge panel? That could be a potential there. It could be another incentive, instead of like, hey, take out the Google guarantee for $50 a month, and we won't show someone else's ads. So there is a lot of still there for them. They're really going massively on how to monetize it. So they could be going anywhere with it.
Phew. Yeah. So it's it's a full-time job. So I think now that we've managed to scare the crap out of a bunch of small businesses, I appreciate that. No, seriously, this has been tremendously helpful. There's a lot in here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on, and stay safe over there on your own personal tiny island, and we'll stay safe over here. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yep, thank you. All right. Bye, everybody.